I'm Philip Stoten. I'm here with Tim Sievers from BMK. Tim, we met at Electronica, I guess nearly a month ago now, or just over a month ago, and we were chatting about the new launch of your prototype portal. Start by just telling me a little bit about the motivation to create that portal and what you've actually created.
Well, the motivation behind our online portal, now used for prototypes, later on probably for more, is that started from feedback from our customers, which were in some cases dissatisfied with response time for RFQs or something, especially in prototyping, express prototyping. And when we analyzed the complete prototyping process, we realized it's not at all about faster production or faster deliveries or something. It's not even getting material faster in-house, but it's mostly the most time is put into the time before the actual order and preparation at our side. And that was communication, clarification, data handling, understanding what the project data of our customers needed or means and what they need for their project. And we wanted to improve that drastically because the old way or the standard way in EMS business up to date is mostly emails. And they send their project data via email, and then we try to understand what they mean in that email.
Yeah. So the idea is to create something that is much more frictionless, much more seamless, and doesn't have this constant back and forward. So when we think about the functionality, the buyer is now just uploading what bill of materials, CAD data. What kind of material do they have to have ready to be able to use the portal?
Yeah, that's one big point is there is no standardization in EMS business with electronic data, especially when we're talking about BOM but also other data. There are some standards, but we have probably 20 different softwares, especially in the CAD business. With all of that, they have a different standard. And yes, what they can upload is their complete project data. That's the BOM, that's Gerber files for the PCB, CAD data for the complete project, and also additional documents like specifications and all of that. And it's the complete data that we need for producing their product.
Okay. And when you say there's all that diversity of standards, is your software able to interrogate what they upload and extract the data you need from it pretty much regardless of what they upload, or does it kind of interrogate it and then go back to them with requests for what's missing?
Well, we can accept a broad variety of different data types. We need some standardization. It has to be in an Excel format or some similar tabular format. It has to use we have to be able to identify what is in what cell or something like that. So there has to be some standards, but there is not one standard at all. And we can interpret that data, analyze it, and we give direct feedback also to the customer directly online when we don't understand something or can't identify a part, something else.
Yeah. So then you've got the bill of materials, you've got the CAD data. Are you doing then some design for manufacture checks? Are you doing some checks that look at how suitable for manufacture it is, or do you just take it as it is and bid on it as it is?
No, we already implemented some design for manufacturing tests in our now beta version of our portal. We want to improve on that drastically over the next year, 1.5 years, but currently we're already doing some analysis of Gerber files, for example. Is the data correct? Does it fit to the BOM? Are there differences? Some data is in the BOM, but there is no placement on the PCB somewhere or in CAD data. But we want to improve on that drastically over the next year as well.
Yeah, and you'll do that using the experience of the material that's uploaded there. So the data that you have in the beta model will allow you to do that. And typically, when I look at it from a customer point of view, what is their time from upload to having the bid and being ready to place an order?
Well, traditionally it was weeks usually,
Yeah.
because of the back and forth via
Yeah.
email and ask questions and get responses in days. Nowadays, with the online portal, we are there in minutes, sometimes hours, depending on how complex the project is. And for example, on the PCB side, if you can have also online pricing for it available, or if you have to go to very specialized suppliers for PCB, then it takes 1 to 3 days also, because we have to ask them for quotas from. But in most cases, we're talking hours now.
Yeah. Okay. And when you look at the kind of support tier that is underneath your portal, that's pricing for the bill of materials, pricing for the printed circuit board. Is all that done through APIs with partners?
Yes, we have most of our worldwide supplier network is connected by our IPAs, especially for material. I think we're up to 20, 30 different APIs there, and which cover pretty much every of our suppliers. Some specialized, of course not, but most of them are there. And for PCB, we also started using APIs for instant pricing as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine the customer response has been pretty positive, because that back and forth is a long and painful experience for them. What's the initial feedback been?
The initial feedback is all of them, oh yes, I want to I want to have access, I want to use it, I want to test it, especially because they are also tired of that email back and forth. And what they want to have is instant feedback on, is that product producible? Did I make mistakes? What are suggestions for alternative parts, maybe if parts are not sourceable? That's one big issue in the current industry. And they all get that. Yeah, they get instant feedback. Do I get the parts? Are they available for my prototype? Is that an alternative part which I could use or not? And
yeah, and that's minimized the work for you to do that. So that's hugely valuable. What I'm also interested in is, when we've if I'm an OEM and I go on, put my stuff on the system, it all works out, you've got the parts available, I order the prototype, then I get my prototype back, it works, I've done my proof of concept, I'm ready to start scaling. Is some of the material I've uploaded and the data you've got from making that prototype, is that going to ease the way into production for me? Is that going to make the new product introduction for higher volume easier and perhaps faster than it would normally be?
Oh yeah, most definitely, because on the one hand, we already clarified the BOM, and we know what it has to be if they don't change it after the prototypes. We have releases for alternative parts which can be used and sourced. We have a basis for our production data. So the complete transformation from customer data to BMK data, and especially for our production, for our machinery programming, is already done. We already found mistakes, which are always a big time, have always a big time impact. If you find discrepancies in the data, mistakes, then we go back to the customer, and that takes also days and weeks, and clarification. All of that is done already, and we are much faster introducing it to our Sievers production.
Yeah, that makes lots of sense, doesn't it? And have you found, as you've been rolling this out, that it's your existing customer base that's most excited about it, or is it perhaps prospects that are struggling to get bids from not just yourself but other EMS companies that are perhaps getting the bid from you first and are perhaps finding that's a more attractive option?
To be honest, because we are already still in a beta phase, we mostly used it with existing customers. Their response was really great, and pretty much everyone where we introduced it wants to have access and is using it now for its prototyping. We introduced it on the fair electronica, also to a broader range of potential suppliers, prospects. And their response was also very, very positive, because they said, I have to wait months for a quote from other suppliers, especially if I want to do the step from prototyping also to serious production or something similar things. And but we haven't brought it that much public yet. With, I would say 90% are still existing customers, because we also have to develop the portal further and to improve on it in functions.
I mean, it's a really nice concept, Tim, and it's a work in progress that'll improve constantly with the data that you're driving through it, and the fact that you're able to drive customer data from your existing customers through it, and you're able to see how it impacts your performance in prototype manufacturing with them, but also how it seamlessly connects to production, I think is hugely valuable. And then rolling it out to new customers, and hopefully it'll create that situation where they find you a more attractive option for volume.
Well, we definitely hope that, yes. That's basically the plan. So we started with existing customer base, also are improving on the functionalities and the new processes and usability of the portal. And now for the next year, we are planning to introduce it to a broader range of potential customers, and hopefully find more of them for our business.
Yeah, well, it's interesting as well, isn't it? Because once you've done the prototype, when they come to you and say, hey, we're going to push this out to 1,000 a month or whatever the run is, your quoting process on that should be accelerated as well, even though you've got to go through a volume process.
Yeah, we have the complete basis already in system. We just change the amount from 10 pieces to 1,000 or 10,000 or something.
And
that saves us probably at least days in the process, when maybe sometimes weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a huge difference. Well, Tim, thanks very much for talking to me about it. It's a really interesting product. I was very fascinated by it at Electronica, and now you've made it a little bit clearer for me, and we'll be able to share that with the audience. I wish you every success with it. I'm sure it's going to develop through next year, so we can talk again then. But in the meantime, thanks for your time, and happy holidays. Enjoy the break.
Thank you for having me. It was very interesting. Also, talking to you, getting your perspective at Electronica on the industry and these kind of things. And I wish you a nice holiday as well. And
thank you.
An exciting 2023.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be an exciting year for everybody. Thanks.
See you. Bye.